people that are Disney fans that get labeled as like psychopaths. Have you noticed this? Right? It's like
Yeah.
we're like
Yeah.
crazy adults. It's like it's so not
Like
true.
the
Some of us are just
I've always been known as a Disney freak or the Disney girl, or I mean even like Disney adults are like, "Oh, you can't be a Disney fan because Disney was made for kids." Actually, no, it was not. Disney was not made for children. It was made for actually it was made for adults, especially the Disneyland park. Yeah, it was made for adults because Walt Disney went to an amusement park and he's like, "This is not fun. I wonder what place I can make for fun for adults to also enjoy." So people are wrong, and I'll tell them all day, every day that they're wrong. Idiots.
no. It's,
Sorry. But
no,
yeah,
it's true.
I feel very strongly about it.
No, and one thing that I really love about your writing style is that you do take a very adult approach. Obviously, like you're recreating the stories in your own words, but I mean, for what we talked about, like this is you're definitely not writing this stuff for kids. Like this is not this. No, this is not Beauty and the Beast like PG. This is Beauty and the Beast like I think a little above PG-13. You know, maybe like R-rated, just a little.
I my books are definitely I have to, of course, market it as 18 plus because of the content that is inside my books, but I will say that I have had 18 and lower get my books. I think the youngest that I am currently aware of, because I met her in person, was she was 13 and she came to my book signing. She called, it was actually really sweet. She called and said, "When is she coming? Is she going to be here? Is she there now?" And she came with her whole family. It was mom, dad, little brother, and then her at 13. And I'm just like, parents are here. I don't care what if you are, how old you are picking up my book, as long as parents are okay and everyone understands what my book is about, then go ahead. I mean, I know what I was reading when I was younger, so, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that, someone that young would pick up my book. I mean, she had already read Haunting Adeline, so my book is easy street compared to that book. That's crazy.
Oh yeah. I mean, okay, I think we touched on this before, but people tend to forget that after Walt Disney died, Disney went a little cuckoo bananas throughout the 70s and 80s. When I say cuckoo bananas, I mean they went full cuckoo bananas. They made movies like The Aristocrats, The Rescuers, they had The Black Cauldron. Like, I don't know
Oof,
anybody, like Sword in the Stone is another example. Like, I don't know about any 5-year-old
classics.
today, but if you put them in front of Black Cauldron, which again, there was supposed to be a kids movie, um, there's a goblin skull thing. There's like
Yeah.
flashes, and there's just death all over the place. And it's like Disney was crazy at one point. They didn't give a fuck. They're like, we're gonna make whatever the fuck we want to.
Well, even with in the early days of Disney, like with, the Mickey Mouse shorts, or what were they called? I don't remember exactly what they were called, but Mickey, like the Fab Five, were like having
Uh
their adventures or
oh,
whatever.
Silly Symphony. Was it
Yeah, like
silly?
that was a lot of propaganda. That was a lot of like war, like political statements, and so Disney has not been a child zone. I get, child zone. It's definitely Disney has put out statements. Now, is Disney kind of veering from what we know and love? Sure. I mean, we could talk about that, but I mean, I definitely have feelings about it. But yeah, God, if we could just go back to the era of that era of Black Cauldron, Sword in the Stone, but also the era of these amazing stories of Beauty, not just the princesses, but Lion King, Tarzan. Um, Gosh, my goodness gracious, those were just exceptional. The scores. I mean, people talk about the story being incredible, but what people really remember is like the Tarzan soundtrack. Like I watched some
Phil
of the
Collins.
people.
Phil
Yes,
Collins killed it.
people keep saying like
Killed
you
it.
didn't have to go that hard, dude. Like don't go like we just want a good soundtrack. Nah, they killed it. Incredible, incredible.
And And it's funny because by the way, Tarzan is a great example of this because the story it was a really good story, and the animation was done really really well. But what really tied the whole movie together
Mhm.
was Phil Collins. Like you can't think
He
of
is
Tarzan, and you
Tarzan.
you can't think of Phil
No.
Collins. Like I had that CD as a kid. Do you remember? I don't know if you had that. I had the Tarzan Phil Collins CD,
Oh,
and it's like some of us grew up with that. Like that's how
yep,
we got introduced to Phil Collins was Tarzan.
yep. So good.
It's amazing.
Alan Menken, don't get me started on Howard, oh god, Ashman? I forget his
Which
name.
film?
But uh I mean Alan Menken has been on multiple Disney films. I mean he's done a lot of scores.
You talking about
Howard,
the composer?
yeah. Howard and Alan are like that amazing duo. I mean, I got to see Alan Menken at D23 years ago. Uh, it was incredible. Like he did the piano and just like went through his library. Well, not library. What is it called? Uh, his backlog of everything that he has done with the Disney company. I'm just like, I want to cry. He did Beauty and the Beast. He did Howard Ashman. I think it's Ashman.
Is it
Could be
Howard
wrong.
Ashman?
It's it's Howard
What?
something.
Okay, hold on. Let's check Google. Okay, Beauty and the Beast composer. Which, by the way, Beauty and the Beast also like that soundtrack was just
So good.
you start Alan Irwin Menken.
Yeah, and then
Alan
Howard
Menken.
something. And then Howard is another guy
Howard
that's
Ashman. Howard
okay, so
Ashman.
yeah, I knew it was Howard Ashman. So yeah, those are also two incredible people. I mean, but Phil Collins, I mean, again, Tarzan Phil Collins, 100%. I'm right there with you.
You know what's so amazing, especially like about Beauty and the Beast, right? And I found out about this like a few years ago when Angela Lansbury did Mrs. Potts. The
Oh
song
yeah.
that you hear
Mhm.
in the movie was one take.
Isn't that incredible? She didn't even
One
want to do
take.
it. She's like,
She didn't want to do
"No,
it.
so she's like, no, someone else is gonna do it better. They're gonna do it better than me. They're like, no, no, honey, like just for shits and giggles. Come on, just do
You
it
do it.
once. And she's like, bet, hold my drink. She's like, all right, I got one take in me, and that's the take that we have. And it's just, can you imagine if she's like, no, like didn't take, no, she killed it. Ugh, my
She
gosh,
did.
so good.
But you know what's interesting is that we're dealing with a time where with a company that was very scrappy. You know, Disney was one of the first companies that heavily invested in VHS, before a lot of other large mainstream production houses did. And that really helped the brand in itself to be able to be seen by a much larger audience in the sense of where even as people that were born later on, for example, me, like I was born 1999, like when Tarzan came out, like I was like that big, okay, and like screaming on top of my lungs. But as we grew up, we had the experience of watching these on DVDs and VHS tapes, and like Blockbuster and Hollywood Video in my case. And that in its cornerstone kind of shaped the generation. It shaped the way that artists and creatives that fell in love with that style, that artistry, your case with your writing. And be honest, we don't have to touch into this. It's like we're in a generation now where Disney has veered off the path so far from that. It's like Herbie, going off the cliff and just skydive, just straight down, like just straight nosedive. It's like Disney today doesn't look anything like Disney that I remember. It's like two different Disneys in my head. There's like Disney of the past, and then there's modern Disney.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with everything you just said. To a point, I mean, they really have, I mean, Frozen cultural phenomenon. I mean, that really just hit. And let me tell you, I still sing it. I mean, I don't care who you are as you loved Frozen, 100%. Like Encanto, that was incredible. Hi, kitty cat.
My sidekick.
Oh, um, you know, with Inside Out, truly, truly incredible. I mean, it got me. I'm all bing bong. I'm like sad sorrows. Red. I think that was just a movie called Red. Loved that.
With the
About like what
panda.
women go through. Yeah, the panda one, what women go through monthly and all that, those feelings. Like Brave, so we have these incredible stories, but I feel like Disney is giving into what everybody that they think is looking and seeing. Like, I just feel like they're following the trends, canceling certain people, not canceling certain people, making certain political statements, changing out certain, which, I mean,
Remakes.
yeah, I'm not
Remakes.
gonna, yeah, remakes, like messing up Snow White. I mean, Snow White was the foundation of Disney, and now it almost was not crumbling of Disney, but worst movie ever. Like literally the worst. I mean, and even worse than Green Lantern. Are you kidding me? Like it's
Or the live action. First off, by the way, it's not a live action of The Lion King. Okay, there's no live lions. That was
yes.
okay. It's like, what was even the point? I'm sorry, like this just boils my blood. What was even the point of making a remake and calling it a live action? It's just CGI animated lions. It's
Yeah.
like you could have just left Lion King alone. It was fine. It was fine. We got
Or
Timon and
giving us
Pumbaa.
Mufasa, just giving us like this different story instead of like promoting. We want Tangled. We are ready for Tangled. No, I mean, and what, Snow White, visually was beautiful. And hot take, because I do think that the role should have been given to little people. I don't know the political term for them. Um,
Dwarfism. Yeah.
yeah. So I believe the role should have stayed with that. But hot take, I did like what they ended up looking at, like, because they did
Go
look
together.
exactly like the cartoon, exactly like the cartoon. Little weird, but again, I do wish they would have given the role to that community of people, because that literally is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. That's literally in the title. Like, this is the one time where Disney specifically could have been, like, hey, we only need these group of people. So, and it hurt. I don't want to get too political, but I mean, it's in her name, Snow, like, or skin as what, white as snow, hair as black as night, lips as red.
We
You know what I mean? Like, it's
we touched this with
in the,
also with Ariel. It's like we're not again, nobody's trying to erase history or culture in any shape or form. But
yeah,
the fact is fact. These come from the Grimm brothers, among other
yeah.
European writers that wrote these stories.
European,
European. European.
not
Okay?
American white.
No. Like Mulan was a great example. When they made a live action, at least they kept to the story that came from China.
Yep.
More a little bit more accurately than the Mulan that we got in the 90s, which again is
Yeah.
totally fine. I mean, it's a Chinese folklore story that's been told for hundreds and hundreds of years. I thought that was amazing. It really showcased Chinese tradition of that region. But again, that's China. It's not Europe. It's China.
Yeah.
It's not like Trump right now. China.
Yeah, it just saddens me. And not like switching out like different, like, people of color for white, or white for, like, not just that, but in general just changing these stories a little bit. I don't like when people say, "Oh, Disney is so just very white," when it's not. We have Moana, we have Mulan, we have Brave, who is Irish, we have Belle, who is French, we have Cinderella, I believe, who is also French, we have Pinocchio, who is Italian.
Italian.
So we have Frozen. So, like, not just the princesses, but we have Lion
Scandinavian.
King with Africa. Frozen, like you said,
Right.
Scandinavian. We have um Snow White, which is German, and in German stories, they are pretty white and their hair is pretty dark, so it's just it's and again, I don't wanna get too political, I don't want people to cancel me before I've had a chance to shine,
No, 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 no.
but
I
it
think what I think what you're touching on, and I'm sorry to cut you off, is
No, you're
very
fine.
crucial. When you're a writer, in your case, and you're developing your own stories off of things that you love, because again, we're talking about not just being an artist, but finding a passion, finding something that you creatively gives you fulfillment in life. And you want to be able to showcase the story in your own voice. And again, it's not erasing anybody's culture. It's not creating a new narrative or making a new direction. It's your take, your version of what this story was for who knows how many years. It's like, you know what? If people want to be able to have cultural and different stories, there are plenty. There are plenty that come from Central America and South America. There are plenty that come from Asia and Russia and Africa. Like, there's tons of stories that have been told for hundreds of years. But to change a story completely away from its roots, its history, its culture, I mean, to be honest, like, you're kind of being racist towards Germans. You know, like that's a bizarre thing to even say, but it's like, yeah, you're being racist towards people that have had a history for thousands of years.
It is a German story, and I feel like we got away from the German story of Snow White. Like, okay, that's a great example. So, with all of my books, I am a Native American and Mexican independent author, right? So, I am not in the LGBTQA plus. I don't know what other letters are, but I'm not in that community.
It's okay.
I am a straight female, but I do want to bring diversity into my books. I do want to bring other types of people of color into my books. Do I know their experiences? No, but it's on me to do the research behind, like whether that's interviewing people, whether that's, for me, I feel like my travels have really helped me to be in the environment where I can accurately explain certain locations appropriately. And so I want to tell all these different types of stories, but it is on the writer who does not have those personal experiences to do the research. I don't know what it is to be a domestic violence victim or survivor, not victim. We don't want to victimize these people, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying like there's certain experiences that I have not experienced, but I am writing about, and it is my duty to most accurately, you know, write them in a way that people who are people of color, African American, Chinese, Korean, whatever it is, Native American, whatever that is, that they feel seen and heard. And it just kind of saddens me with like specifically Snow White, because Ariel's too controversial for me, I feel. But Snow White, I feel like because Snow White is based in, of course, actual heritage and like it's a whole people.
Bavarian
Yeah,
culture.
culture. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very culture. Thank you. Whereas Little Mermaid is mermaids, and you can it's more fantasy based with that. And you
Gotta
kind
play
of do
around with
whatever
it.
you want with that. You
Yeah.
can play more around with that, of course. Do what you need to do with that story. But Snow White, I'm like, where was the more German like feeling? Like Beauty and the Beast, the live action. Dang, the art, like
Felt French.
the gowns. It was so
Felt French.
French. So it
Yeah.
felt so French, and I just didn't feel that it was German. So I feel like Disney just did a disservice to the German people with that story.
It's interesting that you bring this up because I had an argument with a very close friend of mine where she was in a situation where she met somebody that was Native American. And she went on to this whole tangent about how Native Americans never used shellfish, they never ate shellfish, they never touched shellfish. And I looked at her and I'm like, honey, what the hell are you talking about? And she says, well, she told me, and she's Native American. And I'm like, there's the Chemehuevi tribe that's in California that heavily used shellfish and fish throughout their cultures. You have tribes across the entire Pacific coast, going from the top of Washington all the way down Central America, down all the way to South America, all the way to Argentina, that have been using these parts of their jewelry, their clothing, their food supply for thousands of years. It's like I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to her, but I was trying to showcase to her you can't put people in a box. You can't say that people that are from the Sac and Fox Nation are the same as the Pawnee Nation. They're two completely different tribes,
Yeah.
different languages, different cultures. They hunted differently. They they set
Mhm.
up themselves like it's just ridiculous when people get this into their minds and their heads of like, well, I know a culture. I know but you're not from their culture. It's like what you
Yeah.
said, it's being able to do the research before you're able to write those stories or be able to, if you
Mm.
want to make music or if you want to draw or just be a part of that, research people,
Yep.
find out people that have written things about this, be able to immerse yourself if this is something you're really passionate about. And I don't feel it's like being arrogant. I just feel like, do you really want to be the person that gets proven wrong when you clearly are? That was bizarre, by
That's
the way, when
clear,
she told
yeah.
me that. I was just
That
like,
is
what?
bizarre.
So bizarre. I don't know what she was
That's a little too
smoking.
much.
I'm like, yeah,
Something.
they all wore suede and hunted buffalo. Okay. Okay, sure.
But yeah, especially with
Crazy.
modern day like tribes. Like I'm Cherokee, but I haven't really lived like in the culture, but I've gone to like powwows and I've
Yeah.
recently I've really wanted to immerse myself in what it means to kind of connect back to my roots, kind of seeing like what part of Mexico are my people from and things like that. And so like, my people are they got pushed to Oklahoma. So my tribe specifically resides in Oklahoma. Uh, but I do, there are powwows like around me. I'm in California. But again, there's modern day. So you can't, I mean, people thousands, hundreds of whatever years ago, of course, was in one little area. So they used around, but now we are everywhere. Everyone is everywhere. Everyone's traveling. So even that logic today, I'm like, I love shellfish. I love seafood. I love, all types of Mexican. I love also Italian, like I just feel like I mean, of course, talking about history wise, certain
Yeah,
tribes I'm
it's
sure did not eat shellfish because they probably were in the middle of the United States, so
yeah. And there were parts of
yeah,
Canada where you had
yes.
seals. You didn't really have shrimp coming out of
Yeah,
ice glaciers. I
I
haven't seen that
know.
before.
So definitely
Mm.
very strange. That's funny.
What you touched on also is really true, right? Because you have tribes today, even like the Cherokee Nation, which the Cherokee Nation is a mixture of multiple of tribes. That's just one. The same thing with the Navajo Nation. The same thing with the Seminole Nation. They're tribes of many tribes, and it's just them being able to stay afloat. Like a lot of credit goes to the Cherokee Nation. They're one of those tribes that they built their own medical industry. They've built their own government.
Yes.
They built support
Thank
programs
you.
across the United States. Like Navajo Nation also. It's not just about survival. They also want newer generations to kind of be a part of the jewelry making, to
Yeah.
be a part of their language and stuff like that. Like I'll show you something too. I got
Yep.
this in California. Like
Oh, I
y-
love
when
that.
where they burn the horsehair on and then they do the
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love this stuff.
Yes, the horsehair. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
I love this.
It's
My little
awesome.
buffalo.
Oh.
But that's something I appreciate tremendously with writers and authors like you. It's not about rewriting history. It's
Mhm.
about telling history from your own voice.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right?
Mhm. While also staying true to these stories themselves. I can't, I mean, during medieval times in my fantasy world, I could say, oh, kings and queens always allowed their children to marry whoever they wanted. No, that wasn't reality. Maybe sometimes in certain situations, sure, I could have that. But overall, you are a political pawn to be used to further a kingdom's whatever because they need power of this or that. There are wars, there's this, so you have to kind of go along with history. I mean, there's a lot of things you can make up, especially if it's set in a fantasy world where there's
like
no rules
Pinocchio.
but your own rules. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, technically Pinocchio's Italy and it actually is a certain region of Italy. Um
No, but
but
the story
oh
of
yeah,
Pinocchio,
completely
like
made up.
right.
Yes, a doll comes to life because of a fairy. Yes, 100%. So, actually that's a great segue because Her Dark Promise is my first book, but I am currently working on two books. One with a company called One More Chapter, who is a part of HarperCollins. I cannot talk about the contents of that book yet. Just know that when it does get announced, everyone will definitely know what retelling it's coming, like what movie it's coming from, what story. That is a lot of fun. But the one that I can talk about, the one that I am publishing, independently on my own, is a book called Made for Us, and it is a Pinocchio retelling. So I have been doing deep dives into Italian culture and history, and especially that region of Italy that Pinocchio is said to have been inspired by.
Yeah. I, by the way, even the Disney, it's interesting because the Disney adaptation of Pinocchio, which if people don't realize, this movie came out in the 40s. That's how old this movie is. Like that's how
It's pretty
long
old.
ago. Very old. And it people don't realize this, like when they did the artwork for that film, it was very Italian. The landscapes,
Yep.
the tones that they used,
Hmm.
the characters. People tend to forget what was the whole idea of the foxes. That's in the story, and
Yeah.
would love for you to
Start.
break this down. It's part of Italian culture. Like there's a whole reason why they use these characters in there. Like Disney did use a lot of research before coming out with Pinocchio. It just wasn't like, oh, we're gonna just make a reenaction of this movie. No, they spent years in production. I think they also had some of their teams even going out to Italy to learn more about the
I
story.
love that they do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, wow.
That's why travel to these places is so important. I have been to Italy. I've been to Napoli, Pompeii, Sorrento, Venice, Rome. uh, I think that's it. But I've been around Italy from, southwest to the Amalfi Coast to up north, like northeast. And so I'm not saying I'm an expert, but because I spent about a week there, I can say, oh, what did it feel like? What did the pavement feel under, or not pavement, but like the cobblestones feel underneath my feet? What did the buildings look like? What were the people like? Did they act a certain way? So I mean, for example, a great example is unless you go there, you probably won't know that there's a lot of refugees coming from other countries into Naples specifically. So there's some really bad parts of Naples specifically where I had my phone out taking pictures and they're like, don't do that. Not here, because they'll just grab your phone and run. I mean, of course, that's everywhere, but I have been around Europe. I traveled around Europe for a month with my mom and a couple other people, and that was the only place where someone actually came up to me saying, "Do not do that here. This is not safe, right? Where this location that you're currently at." So, I just
Yeah,
like you're saying, like travel is like Disney sending out people to these locations is so important because you get to talk to people, and that's
yeah.
that's that's interviews, that's research.
Yeah, it is. And it's weird because I have a friend of mine that lives out in Manchester. And I had a very interesting experience when I went out to the UK. Whereas in London, it's very dangerous. You constantly have to look around your shoulders.
Mhm.
Me personally, I did not
Yeah.
feel comfortable at all. And I go to a place like Manchester, where she's from, and it's completely different story. Like people are
Yep.
very friendly. They're very sweet. They want to drink with you and get drunk with you. Like they just met you. And people there are, they don't have a lot of money. A lot of people live pretty close to the poverty line, but you wouldn't know that unless you've actually been to the country or know somebody that's from there. You know, we you can know so much research, but if it's very hard to really be able to immerse yourself. Some people can do this. I'm not saying that there are people that could just pick up a book and watch a movie and they're like, all right, I understand this culture, like I'm good to go. But I
Yeah.
think me and you are kind of similar in this way. Like the best way to kind of understand an environment, you kind of have to be there. You
Yeah.
gotta be able to see how the people react and how they survive and what their environment's like. Like you said, like feeling the cobblestone. Because a lot of these places, they have buildings that have been there for hundreds of years. Hundreds. Like you walk down the street and like, oh, that's an 800-year-old
I
church.
mean, a great
What?
oh my god, the cathedrals there are like European cathedrals, German, medieval architecture. Um,
It's amazing.
it, it truly incredible. What's actually funny, not going off topic, but something that again you wouldn't know unless you went. So Pompeii, they have, they're excavating. They're still excavating certain places, or parts of it. But there is a place where, a building where prostitutes would happen. And above their room, you would have this picture where it would show what they were not famous for, but like their move, like what they're known for. Like that's, hey, if you want this stuff, you're gonna go to this
You want
woman.
doggy style, or you want
Yeah, no,
you want
no,
missionary.
exactly. True. No, truly. And so when sailors would come in, because it's right by, the
The
ocean,
coast.
when,
Yeah.
yeah, the coast, thank you. So when sailors would come in, they actually had phalluses on the ground that would point towards the prostitutes, like the house. So not to say the whorehouse, but yeah, because back then it was an actual profession. It was legitimate. It wasn't looked down upon. So I still don't think it should be. It definitely people. What is the right word to use? It definitely should not be, like I said, talked down like it is today. But it was definitely, they were high quality women, and
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know, maybe
They,
men. I
they
don't
were
know,
not.
but
They were not like if people know anything about Roman culture, these were not women that were just dirty.
mm-hmm.
I hate to use the term like dirty whores on the street. No, these
Yeah,
were women that were considered the utmost of
reputable,
like
respectable.
they got the cleanest water supplies. They constantly
Yep,
bathed. You know,
yep,
it's just, it's so bizarre because we live in a culture today that is very different than the ancient world. But in many ways, we've allowed doctrine and control and compromise to become our daily norm. You know, to the sense where not everybody's Christian. Okay, can we just say that?
yeah,
Not everybody is Christian. Not everybody is Muslim. Not everybody's Jewish. It's like we, people have different faiths and beliefs. People have different ways of how they live their lives. And this idea of like, I'm sorry, I get so sick and tired of this crap, protect our children. What are you protecting your kids from? Tell me. What exactly are you protecting your kid? You have
yeah,
two parents that bring a child into the world, right? You said you had a 13-year-old that came over to your book signing. Obviously, those parents had a conversation with their kid. They knew that their kid was smart enough and able to read something
yep,
like that. They made a conscientious decision between them. That's their child. It's
yep.
like this ridiculousness of we have to protect our children. What are you protecting them from? What are you protecting them from? From what? I'd like to know. Seriously, like what are you protecting them
So
from?
it's confusing because I agree with what you're saying, and I feel like we're creating a culture where we're. I don't want to say that. Okay, we are raising men and women like okay. I'm trying to say this in the best
Retake,
way
retake,
possible.
take two.
Retake.
There you go.
um as I am a single female, a single straight female looking for a single man. Now, I do not mind. I'm part of the generation. I'm not going to say I'm hyper independent. I want someone to take care of me. Please, Lord, find me a man to, spoil me.
Hey,
I
I love a
have,
man
but
that would spoil me. Please. Yes, yes, please,
Please. Thank
please.
you. I'm all, please, please, Lord, help me. Or all the lords, I don't care. Whoever's listening, bring one
Bring
to me.
thy
Thank
from
you
the
so
heavens
much.
above.
Ser-
Come down from thy tower.
Seriously. Right to my doorstep so I don't have to go anywhere. I can keep reading and writing.
Mhm.
Um, but no, I just feel like as someone who has not even high standards, but the standards for relationships are so low. And that's not just men. There's, shitty women too. There's shitty people. And I will not settle. I've told myself, I'm actually turning 32 in a few weeks, and I am willing to wait for the right person to come around. And so kind of going back, I know I'm getting to a point, I swear, but going back to what you were saying
Oh,
about
yes, yeah.
how, like, what
Keep
are we
going.
protecting our people from? I just feel like people are so scared to say no to their kids nowadays. I mean, I was in the education system for a hot second, and those kids need boundaries and they need to be held to a standard. Like, I mean, there are so many kids who are like, okay, just give them A's. Okay, let's basically give you the answers. I'm like, what are we helping these kids do? They're not. I mean, there's a class where they made me cry, and so the teacher was like, you need to do like write letters to her. And I'm like, okay, I want them, can them to me because I want to read them. It was illiterate. I couldn't read it. They did their eyes not capitalized, run on sentences, no punctuation. Instead of your, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, it was U-R, like just the letters U-R. I'm just like, what are we? And it just kind of gave me an insight to where, what are we doing? And then you try to get them in trouble. God forbid. One girl showed up wearing, those triangle, no, not triangle, the diamond shirts, and then it has just straps on the back. Someone showed up to that. Their are hanging out, and God forbid you say something because they're saying, well, why are you looking? Now I can sue you because you're looking at me. It's public. I mean, it's not really public school. Schools in general have just gotten
No,
awful.
no, 100%. I mean, I'm in vocational school right now, and we're pretty close in age. I'm 26. I'm turning 27, and I'm in vocational school with a bunch of guys that are in their 18, 19, 20s.
Yeah.
And I try to be, kind of the gay guy that's like, I don't get offended very easily. I'm very chill, very
Yeah.
laid back. The stuff that comes out of these guys' mouth, I'm just like, I don't even say that to other gay men, okay? I don't even say that, all right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, it just blows my mind away. And then on top of that, we're in an industry, especially for me, where I'm working towards for BMW. It's a high end luxury brand. You want to present yourself a certain way with managers, especially when you're trying to get a position. And like one of my classmates, he sends a thank you email to his to one of the managers. Nothing in the subject line, one sentence, thank you for the opportunity. What are you doing? What are you doing? You need to know how
Yeah.
to write. You're gonna have to
We're
know how to
not giving
write
this kid
repair orders.
skills at all.
No, at all. And it's like I come from a generation where we both come from this. We learned how to do
Yeah.
cursive in school. We learned how to do
Ah,
grammar in
the
school.
typing, the typing.
Typing. Yeah, we had to learn how to type.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still use
What
that.
happened?
That's still ingrained in me for some things or whatever, but it's just it's truly sad because all of these kids have, I mean, these, not only are they the next generation, the next leaders, the next thinkers and movers and creatives and all of this, but the political activists, but they're also just really bright kids. I mean, it just made me really sad. I mean, I put it down, but the way that they're being parented, it's like, well, you can't, well, my kid wore this. Well, I told them they could, like, oh, this isn't whatever. And I don't want to just blame the parents because it's outside influences. It's literally a hodgepodge of different things that make an individual who they are. And you can come from
Yeah.
the worst background, but end up being the best, not even the best kid, because I don't want to say there's best and the worst, but respectable, upstanding citizens that are respectful and communicative and can articulate what it is that they need to say, and have the emotional intelligence to where if they get angry, they're not going to lash out and you're afraid that they might kill you because that's the school right now. I mean, if you make a kid mad, they could bring a knife, they could stab you with a pencil, they could punch you in the
Violence.
face. Violence is huge, and so these
And
kids do not know how to self-regulate at all. No
they
counseling,
they
whatsoever.
don't they also like I'm sorry to be one of those people. It's where when you try to sit down with them and have logical conversations, they don't even know what they're angry about. They don't even, you're like, "Do you even know what these terms mean?" You know, for example, one of my classmates, I'm sorry, I'm using this as real life example, but
Yeah.
one of my classmates, he's Haitian, and then I have another classmate of mine that he's also Haitian, and he's working for BMW. He's been working for them for the past year. He's in school to be able to continue his education so he can be able to do more training. And he straight up just said to him, he's like, "Well, you don't know what black privilege is." And I'm like, first off, he has privilege because, he gave himself a set of skills. He got himself educated. He's been working really hard for the past year. You know, he's in school even though he's currently working so he can continue his education. Like, you
Mhm.
don't even know what you're saying. You don't even know the terms and terminology. The same we're talking earlier about the difference of like, well, this is white privilege. We have to have more diverse. Do you know what these terms mean? Do people understand what black privilege and white privilege and supremacy? Do people really know what these terms mean? Me personally, I don't think they know what these mean. I don't think they understand the actual root of what these terms come from.
I think that's a really good point because even I don't really know. I haven't really done the research behind certain things because I don't say I try to stay on the political scene, but I do try to make my page as non-political as possible. I haven't people just get
Yeah,
cancel. I mean, cancel culture nowadays is just crazy. So I do try to say like, "Hey, believe what you believe. I'm just writing some awesome books out here and I just want you to read them." And so I want you to enjoy me because of my mind and the way that I write and my personality, because at the end of the day I am a creative and I'm just starting out, and so I don't feel like I'm in a position to not even be truthful. I don't even really have crazy opinions, but to some people they might be radical. But again, in my mind at this point in stage, I don't think it's anyone's business unless you want it to be somebody's business, and then we can totally like debate from there. But I haven't even, again, I get into it, like commented on, like Charlie Kirk's thing, or but I just feel like people in general just want something to argue about. And how you were talking
yeah,
about how um people don't really know the actual terms. They know mainstream media's terms or what they have made it seem to believe. Like for example, like feminists. Like we don't hate men. We just want a voice. The whole
yeah,
feminist, like, movement, or hyper independent women, like, "Oh, you guys are all stuck up and you're all this," because they learned about it, like, in a movie, or they saw one clip on social media of something like, "Oh, well, that's hyper, I don't want that kind of a woman." I'm like, "Well,
right.
that's
Yeah, or for
yeah,
example,
it's crazy."
this thing where again, this is my own personal experience. I'm this the same way with you. I like to go off of
Mhm,
my own knowledge and expertise and things that I learned. Where you deal with a lot of straight men that they get very pissed off at gay men because
mhm.
we tend to do very well around females. And it's not because I'm better than you. It's because
Yeah,
there's a little bit more of an understanding. It's like, being able to relate. There's a way of being able to articulate. Does it make one person better than the other person? No, it's just two people living very different lives, very different experiences. And it's the same thing, like you said, with feminism. Like, feminism at its root is being able to be proud in your own gender, being able to be proud in who you are as a person, regardless of
mhm.
what the world wants to throw at you, what you're able to accomplish, what you're able to do, and be able to be proud of that. And that's what it really boils down to. It's just being proud of who you are and who you want to be in the end of the day, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I feel the same exact way. It's, um, people just want something to complain and fight about when at the end of the day we
Right.
should be coming together and trying to understand people, because kind of going back to your thing, I mean, I had a funny thing happen to me years ago when I was still working at Disney. We all, a group of us males, men and women, all went to the beach after a party. So we're on the beach after hours, moon's out, and I start hanging all over this guy. And I am a Libra, and if you are interested in the zodiac, Libras have been known to be very flirty, and but we're just really friendly. Sometimes like me, and normally when I try to be flirty on purpose, it doesn't come across that way. But when I am just myself, my personality can definitely come off as maybe a little flirty. And so I think, women feel safe with gay men because we can kind of let our, not kind of, we can let our guards down because we
Yeah.
know we can be who we are, and you're not going to do anything to us. I mean, you could still attack us, sure. I mean, anyone
Yeah.
can at any moment, but
Right.
you're not gonna hit on me. I don't have to have my guard up of like, okay, we can just have a good time, and maybe we can even talk about boys together,
Oh my
and
god, I love
it,
that. I love that.
yeah,
I
we
love
can go get
that.
nails done. Where like all
Yes.
these,
Girls'
men on the
night.
girls' night musicals, we just relate more. I feel like you guys, it's just the vibe is different. But so I was hanging over this guy because I thought he was gay. And my friend was like, "Hey, do you and him have like a thing going on? Like, are you guys like a thing?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? He's gay." They're like, "No, he's not." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "He's not gay." I'm like, "Oh shit." That was my bad. I thought he was. For me at Disney, you're gay until proven straight. I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, if people have not noticed, some of these executives or people that are working for Disney, like just the fabulous outfits. Like, I'm sorry, like there's some straight guys that can pull that off, but it's like
So good.
we're like the queens when it comes to outfits. Come on,
Yes.
come on.
100%. So
I
yeah,
mean,
right there with you.
every
It was so
gay
funny.
fashion designer, like, hello, like,
Oh, when
hello.
they say, "Oh, when a fashion designer loves women and they give us pockets." Like, "Yes.
Finally,
Thank
they
you.
listened. I know,
Thank
not
you."
the narrow, honey. The narrow
No.
pockets in the jeans drives me crazy. Like, how are you
Ugh.
supposed to fit your phone? How are you supposed to fit your? You're like
Give me
half
a
your phone is
man's
sticking out.
pocket. I'm
Oh my
right
god.
there with you. It's so funny.
Good. I mean, even like touching on Disney, like even Belle has pockets in her like dress. You
Yeah,
right?
give us
Yeah.
pockets. Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing? Of course women want pockets. They're like, "Well, we have purses." We don't wanna carry purses. We wanna use our pockets.
They had to come out with Loungefly bags
Yeah.
because purses were becoming too much. I own one.
It's
Like
too
I'm
much.
not a stranger of this. It's like I love it. But it's just like, how far does this go? You know, it's just
100%.
I have to say though, one thing I do love about Loungefly is it's definitely a conversation starter. So being the fact like I've always had like Stitch Loungefly bags, and I've just noticed it's like it literally is the best conversation starter because like I literally have somebody I'm like, oh my god, your bag is so cute, and I'm like, thank
Yeah.
you, and then I pull out my wallet and it's also like a Stitch like wallet, and they're just like, oh my god, that's even cuter, and I'm just like, and it's just I could just start a conversation over there. So for me being like not so much an extrovert, more of an introvert. It's like my little, it's my way of being able to start
Yeah.
conversations. My Stitch bag.
I agree. When you got something like, I really do try to make it a point to where if I see someone on the street, even boys love compliments, and I don't think people really get that. Like, girls love flowers,
No.
but boys do too. Not all boys, but I try to say, "Oh, I like this. I like your hair. You smell really nice. Oh my god, your outfit's so cute." And people light up, when they you hear these compliments, it could literally be the difference between maybe someone being sad to where they wanna, like, take their own life to, like, "Oh, someone sees me." There are things that happen like that, someone is just so sad, and then you say, "Hey, I'm so happy you're here today." It's, like,
Yeah,
life changing.
it is. I mean, Again, going back to my classmates, I have one that's from the other class, and he's a little heavy set. He's like a white Cuban, and he's such a sweetheart. And he has very low self esteem, and I'm the kind of guy where like sometimes like I just come over and just give him a big hug. Sometimes I just like put my hands around his shoulders, just like to be there for him. And
Yeah.
like there's always that one person that's just like, he's gay, and he's like, yeah, and like therefore, like okay, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, just just like I'm not trying to get in this man's pants. I genuinely like the guy. Like I have said, like if he was gay, maybe I would go out with him, but like I respect him. I respect him genuinely, and like I know that feeling too. Like there are guys where they just don't have any self-esteem, and sometimes women, it's hard for them to just go up to a man and start telling them this stuff because it can get uncomfortable. They don't want to give off mixed signals or stuff like that. And I totally understand that. Like, come on. You know, and somebody
Yep.
like me, I'm able to do that for him. And you know how many guys would ever do that for him? Probably none.
Yep. It's important.
It is. It's just being able to be there for other people. I think tying this back to even with ancient culture, what we forget as individuals, it's not everything is about sex. Sometimes it's just people being able to care for one another, regardless of who we choose to have in bed with, or what we choose to live our lives. Some people choose that they like goth and they like white and black makeup. Okay. Some people like cyberpunk. I love those people. They always have those like funky outfits like, oh my god, did you make that necklace?
Yeah.
Like in 2 hours?
Yes.
Yeah. You know?
Cosplay. People love dressing up as like old timey, like in those old timey towns like
Stuff.
Virginia City, Nevada. I'm going there for my birthday. Very excited. So there's all these different communities of people that not everyone's going to understand them, but they don't need everyone to understand that. Life is all about connection. Now, whether that's romantic, platonic, French, whatever that looks like, we as human beings need connection with other people. Like people say, like, oh, you need to at least 3 hugs a day in order to get certain oh,
Dopamine?
I don't know, serotonin or endorphins is certain things flowing through you, but you need 3 hugs that last, like, I think like 7 to 10 seconds, I believe is what it is. I'm not sure exactly the stats, but people need that, literally biologically, like we need connection in life. And so when you are disconnected, that's when you get depressed and you're, isolated from people. And it's just not good at all.
It's not. And I see one thing I really appreciate something like somebody like you, it's being able to have just a level of openness and understanding towards others because I think what happens a lot of the times we close ourselves off instead of just being able to have an understanding with another person. To be able to understand that people grow up differently than we do. Just because I was raised a certain way doesn't mean somebody else was raised the same way either. And for
Yep.
me to sit there and say, "Well, you don't know what suffering is. You don't know what hardship is." I, you can't because everybody has their own, I would say, like level to them of what their hardship is or what they've
Their
been
own
through.
definition.
And it's not just labeled by something crazy or catastrophe that happened in their life. And I think that sometimes happens a lot of times with the younger generation too. It's them being able to find an outlet or something that they can connect to. Maybe that's a little bit different or something that they really enjoy. You shouldn't be judged for it. I think it should be something that should be celebrated, you know?
Oh, 100%. Like back in the day, early anime, people like, oh, those are such nerds, geeks. And, there are some weirdos in everything thing in life.
Mm.
There's
Yeah.
weirdos with, sports things. When people take it a little too far with like there's like the um theater geeks. Like I just feel like of course not really geeks, but like people who take things a little too far. I don't really know
Yeah.
how best to describe it, um but again, there's community for them to find other people who enjoy really immersing themselves in, so there's all different kinds of levels. For me, I love anime, huge anime girly, especially recently, and I'll fight people who say anime is stupid or oh, like especially like the it gets political a little bit, kind of, not really, but subbed people who listen to anime subtitled think people who listen to anime dubbed is not the lowest of low, but they're like, oh my god, they're weird. I'm like, no, sometimes why can't we just like love what we love?
Yeah.
Why can't we
Sometimes,
express how we want to enjoy something? Like I love to
right.
sing, and I mean that's not really a great, I guess, example, but I love to, because I love anime, I have a whole playlist of my anime music, my K-pop music. I call it my Asian vibes playlist.
I love
Um,
that. I
because it's
love
everything.
that.
It's Japanese, Chinese, it's Korean, it's everything. So it's, if I were to play that, I don't play that for everybody, but it definitely currently is what I'm listening to as I'm writing.
No,
So
I feel like for me, I love, like, I think it's Studio Ghibli or Ghibli.
oh
I
gosh,
call it Ghibli,
yes.
and for
I
me,
say
it's my
Ghibli.
neighbor. It's my neighbor Totoro is like one of my favorite ones that they've ever made, and you know, I've watched it mostly growing up and dubbed, obviously, because I live in
Mhm.
North America and we speak English here, and
Yep.
I have watched it in Japanese. Did I understand everything that was going on? No. It was interesting to watch it in Japanese, but
Mhm.
that whole entire culture thing, it's like, yo, we get to live in a time where you have animators and creators and writers that are able to showcase their stories. And you're able to see that thousands of miles away of where it was made. And instead of, antagonizing and then boxing and saying, well, oh, this is racist. Oh, well, this is cultural appropriation, or, you're not watching it in the truest form. No, it's like it's enough already. It's like let people be people. Let people enjoy what they love to enjoy. It's like the whole people don't understand this. The whole idea of anime and manga is the way you feel, the connection you feel
Ugh.
to the craziest ones that are about food porn, all the way down to the vampire
Food
slayers.
Wars.
Food wars.
Don't get me started on ghost stories. My God, it would not be able to be
God,
made in today's society. And ghost
no,
stories is probably
no,
one of the
no,
best
no.
ever. Dubbed. We'll gotta watch it dubbed.
God, that
Ghost
people
stories
do not
is wild.
people do not understand. Anime and manga in the 90s was bizarre. Like, there was blood-sucking orgy rituals in some of these novels. I've seen it.
Yes.
You open up the book and you're like, "Holy shit!"
Hmm.
And it's just, sorry, I mean, this is already rated R, but like, there's just
Yeah.
pussy and dicks in every fucking page. You're just like, "Oh my god!" And it's in a
Yes.
library. It's in a
Yep.
library. It's like in a local
Yep.
library down your street.
Mhm.
You're like, no
Yep.
way, this is real.
I'm all the
But
hentai. Ooh,
yes, oh my god, we got to
it's
bring that back.
crazy.
We got to bring that. That was one thing I loved about
It's still
Alice in
here.
Borderland.
It's still
It
here. Oh
is.
my god, Alice in Borderland. So good.
I can't wait for season
So
three. I'm
good.
just, oh, that
I'm beyond
show.
excited.
My personal opinion is way
Changed my
better than
life.
changed my life. Period. Like it like Squid Games was something, but like once you got
No, no, yeah,
Alice in
no.
Borderland every day, any day, because it's so surreal. It feels like, okay, good. It's like the good guys against the bad guys. It's like, okay, the good guys actually die. Like they die brutally, right?
Oh
Okay,
god.
it's like,
I didn't see that
okay,
coming. I did not see that coming at all.
it was horrible. It was horrendous. Like each episode gets worse with the graphic, like gore. It just gets worse. Just
Yes.
every
God, it's
episode
so
just gets
good.
worse.
It's so
Worst.
good. It truly changed my life. I mean, that is one that I talked about for at least a year after.
Can we just get the elephant out of the room? You could okay, let me you could never make that in the United States. I said it.
No, it is such a you know what? International types of films are so different, but I'm not gonna talk about like German, Italian. I'm not gonna talk about anything besides Korean and Japanese because Chinese because I have watched a little bit of C dramas, but mainly I've watched J dramas, C dramas, and not C, J dramas, K dramas, and anime. So that's I feel what I know most about, and it how you kind of touched on, anime is all about emotion. Show me one anime that it's not a part of like you're not going to cry. There's not some kind of found family. There's not some kind of connection with other people. There's so each one the action ones, don't get me started Attack on Titan. Don't get me started. And people are like, oh, these are for made for kids. No, they're not. Again, have
No,
you
they're
seen Attack on
not.
Titan? Have
No, they're
you
not made for
seen
kids.
no Food Wars, Ghost Stories? Like we were just talking about. It's just crazy. It blows my mind that these C C dramas, K dramas, J drama, all of them, and all of that. These animators, creators, develop like producers, like these creatives over in those countries, are able to truly like K-pop Demon Hunters. They have a way of storytelling that I just feel not Americans don't have or other people don't have, but I just feel like it's so much deeper on another level.
It is.
Um, I do,
Yeah.
and I don't want to put down American producers, creators, artists,
No,
right? Because I love
we're good
them.
at
We're
we're good at
we're
other
really good.
we're good at other things here in the US. Like one thing the US is notoriously really good at is horror and psychological thrillers. That's one thing like the US has been known for a very long time. It's like we were saying from the very beginning, it's not demonizing or classing or grouping. It's that each of these artistry, with animation and writing and filmmaking and TV shows, and they come from, like you said, they come from different cultures. And in those cultures over time and how they've developed differently. Americans do like anime and manga from these other places. The reason why Americans are not very good at making it, it's not our thing. It's not when it comes to the entertainment industry, Americans are just not known for anime and manga.
No.
That's that's their industry. We're known for other things. Like I said, we're really good at psychological thrillers. I mean, we got The Shining, we've got Misery. Do you want me to keep going? There's
Oh
like
God,
Pet
so good.
Cemetery. There's
Oh God, so good. Stephen King just
Stephen
really
King is
took over
like
that genre. it, ooh,
It
terrifying.
is another one. We have also
The
Stanley
scary
Kubrick.
movies.
Scary
Oh
movies,
yeah.
horror comedy is another great thing that
Yeah.
America is really great at. We've made a but that's a really
Yes.
that's a really cool thing about like being able to experience and explore other cultures. And I think that's really cool even with your own style of writing. It's not you're trying to rewrite European history, but you're putting like you're kind of putting, your own spin on it. It's like
Yes.
I'm here in
Exactly.
America. I'm living the American dream. I'm having a good time over here. You know what? Like put my own somebody named Walt Disney did it a while ago. Let me give it a try. Let me give it a little shot.
I I think that's what Walt Disney did. He got these stories from fairy tales. It didn't just pop up in someone's head, be like, oh, this is an original story. No, it's not. They put their own spin to it. Hi, Cat. Um, they put so when people say there's a huge thing of like authors not wanting to read books or watch things like in their genre. So for example, for Beauty and the Beast, they're like, oh, I don't read fairy tale retellings, especially Beauty and the Beast ones, because I don't want to like copy or take from them. I'm like, okay, every single thing that we go on in our lives is inspiration for our books. So I
Yeah,
think it's kind of ridiculous. Like when they say, "Oh, I don't want to read a Beauty and the Beast retelling," I'm like, why? I mean, it has all the tropes. I mean, enemies to lovers is probably the biggest trope out there besides like found family.
it's a
Those probably are the
beautiful
two biggest
story.
ones.
It has beautiful morals
Everyone
too.
says, yes, and like everyone says, who did that to you? Like when the female is hurt, like there's scars on her back, there's and then the male love interest or whatever love interest. I don't want to go gender specific, but the love interest comes in and sees the scars. It's like, who did this to you? Who hurt you? Um, that
Right,
is not just overdone, but everyone does it and everyone's fine with it because we like it. We love it. We're here for it. So there's no copying. Disney copies. So people copy. I mean, K-pop Demon Hunters. I mean, that is an original story, but there's demon books out there that probably inspired them, the creator, to create K-pop Demon Hunters. There's Demon Hunter books. So you can't say, oh, hers is the first media film or whatever that shows Demon Hunters. Like maybe the first one through music, but she would
right.
probably was inspired um to be like, oh, that'd be fun if we a fun spin if we did this. And I think about that all the time. Like in anime, I would love to. So my character with the One More Chapter book, his name is Bellamy, and he is inspired by a character from Yakuza Fiance. And that's who, I don't know, for those who have watched it, you'll get it. He's just unhinged. I'm like, I want to bring that energy to Bellamy. How can I do that with fitting into my story, and how does he fit with this? Because in general, it's all about feeling like, oh, that guy is unhinged. He has ASPD. He doesn't feel the same. X, Y, and Z. How do I bring that and make it my own? So that's what retellings are, because there's not one original thought. I'm sorry, but I don't think there's, maybe rare, but I don't believe that there is an original story out there. Everything is inspired because, again, everything is a mix of our beliefs, morals, values, what we're willing to, how far we want to push the boundary. Like that means, do I want my book to be a YA, young or new adult, erotica? Do I want it to be taboo? Like
Right.
it's how far you're willing to push yourself and the voice that you want to tell the world and the story you want to tell. So there is no original thought, but what is original is your take on your life experiences, the stories you read, the movies you watch, the people in your life that, maybe somebody who went through domestic violence and you got inspired to write, or me being bullied. Oh, I would like to write a bully story where I'm giving the person, the survivor of being bullied, a voice, and they can take back their, who they are as a person. Maybe they lost themselves for a while. And, so there's just so many things. Again, no original story, but very original because it's your story. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
it does. You know, I have to say, like, it's really incredible to be able to talk with authors such as yourself because it's not just a showcase of writing, but it's also a showcase and dedication of being unique and being your own. Regardless of what people think and what people have to say, the fact that you can show up to book signings and there's people there that want to be a part of your story. They want to
Mhm.
see your work continue. They want to hear more of the stories you have to. And I think that really is what showcases more than anything else. It's not about, you know, what is clickbait, or what the algorithm wants. It really boils down to how can you showcase yourself and be the most genuine version that you possibly can. Yeah.
100%.
Um I was gonna ask you because we've been talking about your books this entire episode. You've got a bunch that are is on your website. I know you got also social media, and you also have another book that's coming out, and there's one that's secret. And I don't even know what
Yeah.
that book is, but we're gonna find out when that one comes out. Um, but walk me through that. How could people find your books if they want to, for example, like come out to any of your book signings? Following you on social media or anything like that. Walk me through it.
Yeah, so I made it really easy. I branded myself, in my opinion, incredibly, because everything is under author Bria Rose. Now, AuthorBriarose. I only spell it out because I think when people see my handle, they think, "Oh, Bria Rose." I'm like, "No, no, no, Bria Rose."
Bria.
Um,
I got
Bria.
confused
So
about that before. I was like, is it Bria or is it
yeah,
Bria? Yeah, we
yeah.
need clarification over here. It's Bria.
That's okay. So author Bria Rose is everything. That's authorbriarose.com. That's tiktok.com dash, / author Bria Rose, Instagram at author Bria Rose. So that's how you can find me. You can buy my books on Amazon, Barnes Noble. Just recently I found out it's on walmart.com. So there's a few different places. The audiobook, of course, just head to my website. My website probably is the best way to find out about updates on what's going on, social media, TikTok, Instagram. I post about book signings. It's actually a good idea probably to post where my upcoming, places I'll be on my website as well. But definitely take a look at those three. If you have any questions, I am always available through DMs and my email.
Love that. And can I just say, like, thank you for taking the time talking with me and just walking me through, like, just both of our love of Disney, and just our gripe with just society today in our own sake. It's like, this is nice. It's a good way to start the week.
Yeah, or into the week, depending on how you look at it.
Into the week. Yes. All
Yeah.
right, gotta correct my grammar. Oh my goodness, showing my age.
No, no, I said end.
Oh,
Sorry, I said end of the week. End of the week.
oh, end of the week. Oh,
Yeah, no, not your grammar. Don't worry, I'm not paying
I
attention.
gotta listen a little better. I gotta listen a little better over here. But but again, though, I seriously thank you for coming on and sharing your story. And honestly, to anybody that's out there, if you love Disney as much as me and Bria does, be sure to check out her work. I'm sure you're gonna get a nice, different approach. A lot more fun than what we remember. Probably a lot more fun than we remember these stories.
As long as you like spice, you'll like me.
But to anybody out there, if you want to check out more of the podcast, you can find us at Lost in the Groove Pod. Of course, this episode and many others will be up on Rumble, and they're going to be on Substack. So with that, motherfuckers, catch you on the next one. All right, peace out.